Hey guys, Vinny and Ken here. I'm going out with Ken on his first job this morning. We're going to get some footage for some training purposes and some videos so you guys can see how he does his jobs. And this morning we wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about being prepared for your day and getting yourself in the right mindset when you're on your way to that first job in the morning, when you're just waking up and getting things started. So Ken, you want to give us some insight on that?
Yeah, good morning. Obviously, I think it's crucial that you prepare yourself the night before, making sure all of your equipment is clean and presentable, and all your tools are in order and chemicals filled up so that you have everything you need when you actually show up on site. Instead of panicking in the morning at last minute, it's best to do it the night before. Make sure you got your notebook and if you have brochures and cards and you use them, make sure you give those out to your customers. Always take that with me.
And if you ever forget to bring your price sheet or your brochure here, or if you don't have one, you can always go on the website, bgreencarpetcleaning.com, and in the main menu you can select carpet cleaning prices or house cleaning prices, and you can always pull that up on your phone to show the customers, like, this is what our list price is. You don't want to just be pulling these numbers out of your butt on the fly, because having the actual prices in front of you on the credibility of pulling up the actual prices on the website kind of is one of those things that just proves to the customer that you're not just making this up, you're not just giving them a special deal for them, but that you're actually using the prices as they're written on the site, and they know that they can trust that.
Yeah, and obviously if you use it to your advantage, there's so many things. You can obviously be honest with your customer. I love to be honest with them and let them know that I make a commission, and yeah, the more you do, the more I make. And I'm not afraid of that. I think some people get a fear that, the customers think that, they're going to get an advantage. Well, maybe, but if you're confident in your service, then ultimately customers, want you to do stuff for them. So say the right things, do the right things, but go in prepared. I mean, make sure you got toothbrush and toothpaste with you at all times. I keep diaper wipes with me so I can make sure I, kind of freshen up and make sure I'm prepared before every appointment. The more prepared I am, the better I do in every one of my jobs. So take a minute and prepare yourself before you leave your house. Definitely best to fill and clean everything the night before, and then open your jobs up nice and early in the morning so you can kind of get an idea of what you're doing for the day and where you're going. Doesn't mean that's not going to change. I always expect change or expect a job to get dropped on after I'm out in the field already. I just expect that stuff, and that way I can maximize everything. So my goal is to go out there and obviously provide an amazing experience for all my customers, and the more prepared I am, the better things work. I think
Use the right two lanes to
had
take exit 252 towards Evergreen Parkway and CO 74.
a phrase for a long time that was called the 5 Ps, which are pre-preparation prevents piss poor performance. So get yourself ready and do it.
Yeah, and let's talk about the chemicals real quick, because you mentioned that earlier.
Take the exit.
So you have your large bucket, your batch bucket
In half a mile, continue onto Evergreen Parkway.
of spotter fermenting, right?
Yeah.
At home, and you filled up your portable. What is that? Is it in the bucket back there, or in the sprayer?
It's in the sprayer, yeah. The white sprayer has my spotter in it, and the blue sprayer has my sealer in it.
So he's got that filled up for the day, all set to go. You don't want to put the pressure in that sprayer first thing in the morning while it's in your car. Wait to pressurize it until you get to the job. What else? As far
My
as
filters
chemicals?
are clean. You can see my vacuum is taken apart behind us because I washed it out good thoroughly and cleaned it, and cleaned the filters out so that they're fresh. The cleaner but yeah, I cleaned my filters out and make sure my vacuum's ready and looks good. Go up to that door with it looking good. It feels better, number one, and beyond that, if your customer's observant and paying attention, they want to see you respecting their property and not bringing someone else's dirt in their home. So I usually make sure my vacuum's been cleaned and wiped out in between every job. It only takes me just a couple of minutes to do it. And when I do it right, my reward is it feels good for me as well.
And that's such an easy way to get the ball rolling off on a good start. First thing for your customer and making this first impression on them, is just having clean equipment and having your teeth brushed and taking a shower. I mean, you can imagine if you had a service provider show up at your house first thing in the morning and they look like they just rolled out of bed and were
smelled like a goat,
talking to you with this stank breath, they're not going to want to pay attention to you, or they're not going to want to talk to you very long.
And there's some wipes right down there, and if you smoke, carry wipes with you, because I think right before you go, to any appointment, if you're a smoker, take a minute and wipe your hands off thoroughly, because that's what smells. And wipe your face off. Make sure that you chew some gum or have some fresh breath. I usually keep mouthwash with me, just so that I know I'm not going to go close to my customer and freak them out.
Yeah. And now, what about the actual job itself? When you see a job in there that's a Groupon or a Amazon job or anything, is there anything specific that you do to get prepared based on the numbers that you're looking at, based on what the job is pre-sold, or is it always exactly the same regardless of?
No, I read the notes, and I really don't make any kind of a judgment call, because I don't think I'm godly enough, I should say. So I just want to read the notes, know where I'm going. I look at and kind of know an estimate of what's going to happen when I'm going in the door, by reading the notes and seeing what's on the ticket.
Oh yeah, and the notes is definitely important too, because a lot of time these customers specifically request that the technician call ahead of time when they're 15 minutes out or 30 minutes out, and that's especially important when we have these 3-hour window of arrivals. I mean, we want to try and make the customer feel as comfortable as possible, and if they're sitting around waiting for 3 hours and haven't heard from you, they don't know if you're going to not show up, or if you're going to be running a little late, or if you're going to be there a little early. We want to make it as convenient as possible on these guys to, let them know some of these people are taking time off from work, and, they don't want to have to take off an extra 3 hours and be there waiting for you if they don't need to be, right? So looking at those notes and making sure that you're prepared that way is super important too.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I think if you keep an open mind on every job, I actually set a goal, before I arrive at any house. I like my average to be way up there. So
using this job today as an example, what is your goal for today? What was it pre-sold for, and what is your goal for this job particularly?
Well, my goal is usually between $700 and $1,000. However, I have kind of a minimum set of standards that I usually don't want to leave a house that, I've left them with a situation that everything's not done, and they pay as minimum as $1 a day to get their whole house cleaned, right, which is obviously $365. So the idea is, I'm pretty confident most homes have $500 to $700 worth of stuff that needs to be done in them at a minimum. But you can get your quote up to $1,200 or $1,500 fairly easily. You just have to take the time to do it. Look around, be observant. Don't be afraid to get the furniture. Don't be afraid to sell a $700 job that slows you down where you are running on the last side of the time window. It's okay. We call that customer. We let them know, hey, our technician ran into a situation where he's taking care of the client before you, and he'll be doing the same thing for you when he gets to your home if there's anything that you need that would take him longer.
And that communication is super important too, and I'm sure you guys have noticed this in your real life as well. I mean, being in good communication with the people that you're doing business with, or even just your family members and your people that you have relationships with, that communication is key. It's like if you owe somebody money and they're expecting you to pay them back on, let's say today as an example, right? and you don't have the money, you're not
You
going to pay them
avoid
back. You avoid them, that's going to create so many more problems for you down the road. All it took was a quick text or a quick call to say, hey man, I'm sorry I didn't get paid today, or hey man, I'm sorry I had to spend a little more money on groceries. I'm not going to be able to pay you actually for another couple days. If you get ahead of that and have that communication with anybody, and not just in a money payment situation, but in all situations in life, that quick little bit of communication that took you very little minimum effort to do, to send that text message, it probably took 30 seconds. But it goes a long way with your family members, with your bosses, with people that you work with. That communication goes such a long way, and it can avoid you so much hassle down the road. Avoiding the situation is never the answer. And if you're running late to a customer, just sending a quick text to your next appointment or to the office is...
There we go, guys. You get to watch a herd of elk crossing right in front of us.
How do I switch this?
Here we go. They're crossing. We got a herd of elk here.
Cool.
They're right there, big horns.
Oh, whoa.
Here's Tim, his daddy, watching everything.
But yeah, like what you're saying, that little bit of communication goes such a long way, and you can get ahead of these things and really save yourself a lot of hassle down the road, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And, one of the things that's real important is that you watch all of our podcasts and our videos and listen to our information, because we've done the research. We know the answers. We know what works best. It takes a little cooperation from you to get out of your comfort zone and know that, here I am. We're about ready to arrive at our appointment, so we're gonna shut this off in a minute. But what we're gonna shoot for is when we get to the customer's house, is we're gonna shoot for giving them the best experience they've ever had from a service provider. And if we can get the customer to give us anywhere from 5 to 20 yeses before we ever talk about adding any services to their job today, it's a 99% chance I'm going home with the whole house cleaning. And that's an attitude thing, that's a confidence thing, as well as it's a thing that I always tell my customer, if you give me 1% of your confidence, I'll earn the other 99. That's not a problem. So when I go into the house, I'm going in there with that sense of mind. And if I can get those yeses to roll out of that customer, it all just falls right into place the way I want it to. And getting 600, 700, 800, even as much as 1,000 on a regular basis isn't challenging for me, either mentally or just capability-wise. So
cool.
That's a big part of it. We're about to our appointment here. We've got a little bit. We've got about a mile left to go. So
we'll tune back in here with you guys when we get there. See you soon.
Peace. Here we are back at you real quick, just to throw a couple little quick things in, because we're a couple of minutes early. It's 7:50 for an 8 o'clock appointment, and I just want to tell everybody it's really not a good idea to show up early unless you've had the office call them and ask for that permissions, because they may be discombobulated from kids going to school, just not quite ready yet, whatever it might be, and that's a bad way to start things off. So make sure you show up at exactly the right time, or whatever time you've contacted them, and the window's open properly. Otherwise, like I said, you just start off with a bad situation. So I like to go a few minutes late. That's kind of the best thing I could ever do, is not even just like if it's an 8 o'clock and I show up at 8:10, that's a good thing, because it gives me the chance to start off with an apology. And by starting off with an apology, to say, I'm sorry I'm running a couple minutes late, the customer's defenses drop down just from that one action. So there's nothing wrong with being late. If you're running to your 10 o'clock an hour late, you're not going to be there till 11 o'clock, and you actually show up at 11:15, it opens a door for you to give a really, really confident and sincere apology that you are 15 minutes past the time you said you were going to be there. And again, the customers always say, oh, no worries, no problem, especially if you start off with an apology. So
interesting.
Hang out before your job. Careful of your decision making. Again, watch our videos and watch this stuff, because we talk about all this stuff to keep you from making little mistakes that mentally put your customer in the wrong frame of mind, or possibly yourself.
Interesting, yeah. Sounds good. So we're here, pulled over on the side of the road, and we're gonna tune back in with you guys here as soon as we get to the front door.
Awesome.
Bye.
Pop open our job. Here you can see my information, the client's information. I can click and open that invoice. In here, that's where I want to make sure I check on time. It says the details of what I'm going to be doing today. Any special notes right here that might be included. That way the customer can kind of, have a thought in their mind and mine. They totally agree with each other as we're going through it. Then I can check the customer's history and see anything that this customer might have done previously. In this particular case, I don't really care how much they paid because my goal is to get the whole house every time. So it's irrelevant of what the last person did, especially because I always get the furniture as well. So I can see a lot of guys are kind of lazy about that and they don't add furniture. So that's a big weakness out there. If you guys want to make the maximum money, learn how to add furniture. You'll get a lot more for your value out of this whole situation. You can check your customer's history, go back to your ticket, make sure you're ready to go, and obviously you can see it's getting close to time to get to this appointment, so we're going to shut this off and show up.
And now real quick too, when you're pulling up the customer history like that, and when you go to prepare the quote sheet or before the maintenance plan possibly, do you ever discuss that previous history with your customer about what they bought the previous year or the work that they had done in the previous years?
Yeah, I will. Definitely. It looks like you had the whole thing, or all these areas done last time, and this was the price you paid to have the full service package. So, that just kind of gives them the... I don't even want to do that really to close the sale or anything like that. I want them to be informed about it just so that they know, I know.
And when do you mention that? Before the maintenance plan?
Probably not. Probably, and I would only mention it maybe at the point of doing the quote sheet, when I'm actually doing it with the customer, when I'm going through each piece of the quote sheet, item by item.
So, Mrs. Jones, I'm preparing your quote sheet for you here, and just taking a quick glance at your previous year's history, we noticed that you added this bed, this bedroom.
Kind of. I would have actually said, okay, here's your quote sheet for today, and I want you to, see here that last time, here's what you did. You did everything in these areas, and this is how much you paid. And then I would go through my quote sheet to say, okay, and I itemized everything out with today's list price, and if you had it all done again a piece at a time, this is what it would cost you, but I'm going to do it for this because you're a good patron. We see you've used us before and we want to continue to have your business.
Perfect. All right, see you guys soon.